Is he still alive? The mystery of D.B. Cooper, the hijacker who vanished. What if the key to solving one of America's greatest unsolved crimes was hidden in plain sight? A man boards a plane in a suit and tie, carrying nothing but a briefcase. Hours later, he parachutes into the freezing night sky with $200,000 and disappears forever to no trace. No body, no answers. Tonight, we dive into the legend of D.B. Cooper, the ghost who fell from the clouds and never touched the ground again, and the world of forensic investigation. Some cases defy logic and mock even the sharpest minds. Forensic analysts can trace fingerprints, fibers, and even a single hair strand to a suspect. But what happens when there's almost nothing to trace at all? That's the story of D.B. Cooper, a man who turned a Boeing 727 into his getaway vehicle, outsmarted the FBI, and left behind nothing but a tie, a name, and an obsession that still grips the world half a century later. The challenge was as clear as it was impossible. No crime scene, no body, no solid evidence, just a leap into darkness. Forensic analysts faced a nightmare. Every clue that surfaced only deepened the mystery. Was Cooper a trained paratrooper? Or a man with a death wish? Did he vanish into the woods forever? Or walk among us, free, under a new name? The D.B. Cooper case became more than a manhunt. It became a question science couldn't answer. It began on the evening of November 24, 1971. Florence Schaffner, a flight attendant aboard a Northwest Orient flight from Portland to Seattle, was handed a note by a quiet man sitting in the back. At first, she thought it was just another phone number from a flirty passenger until the man leaned forward and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, she saw 4 red sticks connected by wires and a battery. It looked real enough. His demand was simple: $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes, delivered when they landed in Seattle. No one on board knew their plane had just been hijacked. The passengers were released unharmed once they landed. The ransom was paid. The plane refueled. And under Cooper's calm but chilling instructions, it took off again, this time toward Mexico City. But somewhere over the forests of Washington state, in the dead of night, the cabin pressure suddenly dropped. Someone had opened the rear stairway. And just like that, he was gone. He leapt into the storm, wearing a suit, a tie, and dress shoes into freezing winds and darkness so thick, the pilots couldn't even see the ground. No one ever saw him again. The only things Cooper left behind were a clip-on tie, a tie clip, and a fake name, Dan Cooper. The press misprinted it as D.B. Cooper, and that's the name that stuck. But here's where it gets eerie. Dan Cooper was the name of a character from a European comic book series about a heroic Air Force pilot who parachutes from planes and saves the day. Coincidence? Or inspiration? Investigators traced every serial number from the ransom bills, but none ever surfaced in circulation. None except for $5,800 found a decade later on the banks of the Columbia River, rotting and half buried in sand. It only made the mystery darker. Some experts believe Cooper never survived the jump, that he crashed into the wilderness, his body lost forever. But others aren't so sure. Decades later, a forensic geographer, Professor Karen Humes, and her students mapped the likely flight path. They concluded Cooper didn't jump over mountains at all, but over farmland near a small town called Battleground, Washington. Flat terrain, agricultural fields, civilization just a few miles away. If they're right, Cooper could have walked away that night. Then there was the tie. Forensic testing revealed microscopic metal particles, traces found in manufacturing plants, and even certain cosmetics. What did it mean? Was Cooper an engineer, a factory worker, or someone hiding in plain sight? The deeper investigators dug, the stranger it became. Authors, podcasters, and amateur sleuths all became trapped in what they now call the Cooper vortex, a rabbit hole of endless theories and dead ends. 50 years have passed. But the legend hasn't faded. Some see D.B. Cooper as a criminal, a man who inspired copycats and chaos. Others see him as a folk hero, the mysterious outlaw who took a leap of faith and vanished into legend. But for forensic analysts and truth seekers, Cooper remains a haunting reminder of how a single act can echo through time. Maybe he died in the storm. Maybe he lived quietly for decades, sipping bourbon in some nameless bar, smiling at the myth he created. Either way, his identity died with him, or still walks among US.so. What do you think? Did D.B. Cooper survive that night? Or did he vanish forever, swallowed by the storm? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you love exploring the mysteries that refuse to die, hit subscribe and join me in the next story. Because here at Echo vanished, the truth is never as simple as it seems.